as you guys know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they had him doing his Senate confirmation hearings, and they were beating him up. Obviously, he's had a bunch of allegations of sexual assault, alcohol abuse, being a drunkard, being crazy with the ladies, infidelity, fathering children while married. He's had a whole bunch of controversy, and a lot of people didn't think he was going to get confirmed. He got confirmed literally by the skin of his teeth. So Kristi Noem, she's the current DHS Secretary. So her name is Kristi Lynn Arnold Noem, born November 30, 1971, is an American politician who is currently serving as the 8th U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security since 2025, serving under President Donald Trump in his second term. She previously served as the 33rd governor of South Dakota from 2019 to 2025, resigning after being confirmed as Secretary of Homeland Security. A member of the Republican Party, she was U.S. Representative for South Dakota's at-large congressional district from 2011 to 2019, and a member of the South Dakota House of Representatives for the 6th district from 2007 to 2011. I know she lived on a farm. She went viral for shooting a dog or something like that. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. In April 2024, insiders said that her odds of being selected as Trump's running mate had waned due to her stance on abortion and the revelation in her book, No Going Back, that she shot and killed her pet dog and a goat. It was noted that additions, subtractions, and emergence of dark horse candidates remained possible, but on June 5th, NBC News reported that Noem was no longer on Trump's short list of running mates. What's her stance on abortion? I think she's pro-life, this woman, if I'm not mistaken, which Trump is more pro-choice for obvious political reasons. Being pro-life as a guy is almost suicide for you politically. Yeah, she's anti-abortion, boom, yeah. She's 100% pro-life. And for Trump, that's just not gonna work, right, unfortunately. As you guys know, most women are single-issue voters. Let's just call a spade a spade. And since most women are single-issue voters, the main issue that they vote for 9 out of 10 times is for reproductive rights. Even the most conservative women typically tend to be pro-life, and they go out to vote for this very reason, right? So from a strategic standpoint, this is why Trump stays away from the abortion conversation, and he kind of delegated it to the states. Because it's a lose-lose, guys. It's honestly a lose-lose for you politically. I know a lot of you guys here in the chat are probably pro-life, which is cool, that's honorable. But if you're gonna be a politician, you wanna get the woman vote, unfortunately, being pro-life is extremely unpopular when it comes to garnering the female vote. So, yeah. Anyway, so that is our current Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. What do I think about this? Well, I'll be honest with you guys. She's a governor, and most governors have no idea how the feds work. And not only that, but South Dakota, for some of you guys, let's show you guys this shit on a map, right? Because I think she's South Dakota. Yep, South Dakota, right? So for some of you guys, let's show you guys where South Dakota is on a map, right? Boom, here it is. As you can see, it is not a border state, and it's in the middle of nowhere, right? South Dakota. The reality is this: most governors have no idea how immigration works, how the border works, how customs work, etc. So her being DHS Secretary, you guys know that I've been critical of this for a very long time. I don't think that she should be the Secretary of Homeland Security because most governors have zero idea how immigration or customs works, because customs and immigration is a federal matter only. It is not a state matter ever, okay? So putting someone there, quite frankly, they're not going to know what the fuck they're doing, right? Let's just be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. They're not going to know what the fuck they're doing, right? Dumbass Kamala Harris was saying, well, I've prosecuted transnational criminal crimes because I'm from a border state. Bro, you are from San Francisco. By the time you deal with criminals in San Francisco, they're 3 or 4 levels removed from the cartel. So, no, shut up. You don't know anything about how the border works, okay? She says that because it sounds cool, but she really doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. So, again, the Secretary of Homeland Security needs to be somebody that is very well aware of immigration and customs law. Unfortunately, this isn't her. But I know why Trump put her in. Trump put her in because she's a loyalist. She supported him on the wall, and she stands by him. I think at this point right now, what Trump is focused on doing is putting people that are trustworthy in his cabinet. I don't know why he put Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, but that's a whole other conversation. But it seems as though he's staffing most of the people in his cabinet, most of the people close to him that are Trump loyalists. Okay, so my thoughts on this: I don't think she's qualified for the job, and I also dislike that she's more concerned with pushing fucking anti-Semitism bills than anything else. South Dakota, I mean, realistically speaking, how much anti-Semitism is there in fucking South Dakota? Come on, bro. Come on. Nobody even lives there. So that's Kristi Noem. I would have liked to see Pat Homan as Secretary of Homeland Security instead of Border Czar, because let's be honest, Border Czar is not a real position. It's a ceremonial title. Doesn't really give him any real authority. So I think he should have been the Secretary of Homeland Security. Maybe she could be second or third in command. But again, I think this is a position that he's rewarding her for being a loyalist. Okay, so that is Kristi Noem. Now let's get into Pete Hegseth, okay? This is your new Secretary of Defense, guys. Congratulations. Now, the Secretary of Defense is a very powerful position, okay, guys? I would argue the 4 most powerful positions are Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, Attorney General, Treasury. What else? Yeah, I would say those are the four. DHS is important, but not as much. I mean, if you're worried about immigration, obviously it's very important. But if we're talking about total power, Speaker of the House, extremely important and powerful position. That's actually a third in command, guys. If something were to happen to the president and the vice president, Speaker of the House would become president of the United States, FYI. A lot of people don't know that. So Hegseth, right, is an American author, television presenter, and Army veteran who's currently serving as the 29th United States Secretary of Defense since January 25th, 2025, in the second administration of President Donald Trump. After graduating from Princeton University, very good school. It's a Princeton Tigers. It's a Ivy League school in New Jersey. Hegseth began his career working as an analyst for Bear Stearns. From 2003 to 2014, and as you guys know, Bear, it's an American investment bank. From 2003 to 2014, and again from 2019 to 2021, he served as an infantry soldier in an Army National Guard, attaining the rank of major. He received the Bronze Star while serving in combat deployment in Iraq. 2005 and 2014, he voluntarily deployed to Afghanistan to train the Afghan security forces. Following his military service, Hegseth became an active figure in conservative Republican politics and was the executive director of Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for America. Since 2014, he has been a political commentator for Fox News and was a weekend co-host of Fox and Friends from 2017 to 24. And just so you guys know, Vets for Freedom, right, who, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's a non-for-profit. Who funded this? I think both of these were funded by the Adelsons, if I'm not mistaken. Do they have here funding? Okay, there we go. Boom, I'm good, baby. Yeah, Sheldon Adelson funded this, and he also, I think, probably funded this one as well. Let me look here. Another non-for-profit for the people, because this is important for you guys to know who funded this shit. All right, well, either way, he's a Secretary of Defense. If you guys remember, if you guys watched, we went ahead and we could watch his hearings. They were beating his ass, man. You guys remember, they were like literally cooking him. But anyway, so yeah, as you guys know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they had him doing his Senate confirmation hearings, and they were beating him up. Obviously, he's had a bunch of allegations of sexual assault, alcohol abuse, being a drunkard, being crazy with the ladies, infidelity, fathering children while married. He's had a whole bunch of controversy, and a lot of people didn't think he was going to get confirmed, but he did. Literally, like, the closest they've ever had, I think it was like 51-50. I think J.D. Vance casted the tiebreaker vote. So he got confirmed literally by the skin of his teeth, and obviously a lot of controversy follows this guy, but this guy is a hardcore Zionist. He's one of these evangelical Christians that, thinks that Israel needs to have all the land. He thinks the scripture is, we need to have the second coming and all this other stuff. So he is a super hardcore Zionist. As a matter of fact, he even said this while he was being while he was being grilled by, who was it? Something Cotton? I forget the guy's first name, but something Cotton was questioning him, and then it just turned into a fucking battle of who's a bigger Zionist, which is fucking comedy. But yes, this is our Secretary of Defense, which is a very important position, guys, because the president is commander-in-chief. The Secretary of Defense is basically his right-hand man. You understand? When they're war planning, when they're, figuring out military assets, etc., Hegseth is going to be the one running point on all of that stuff. You understand? So this is a very important and powerful position. And this is why they were so reluctant to give it to him, because the Secretary of Defense, chat, is literally the war guy, for lack of a better term. That is the war guy. He oversees the entire armed forces of the United States, Army, Navy, the Marine Corps, right, which is a part of the Navy, right, Air Force, and the Coast Guard. Because in times of war, the Coast Guard leaves the Department of Homeland Security and enters the Department of Defense. A lot of people don't know that, right? Coast Guard is typically DHS, but in times of war, enters the DOD, right? Which means that he now has oversight of them. So yeah, dude, like this guy, this is an incredibly powerful position. So I can see why they were so reluctant to give it to him, right? So let's go ahead and I got some stuff here that we'll play.
On Capitol Hill, we are tracking the Senate confirmation hearings, Angela, resuming for the president's cabinet picks with some big names on the list for this week, and some final votes are imminent as well. Today follows a big weekend of confirmations, with the Senate saying yes on Pete Hegseth on the Defense Secretary nomination, and Kristi Noem is a yes as well for head of Homeland Security. Meanwhile, today, final vote at 5:30 on Scott Besant's nomination, for the next head of the Treasury. Besant is a strong ally of Donald Trump and will play a very key role in advancing the Republican agenda if, in fact, he is confirmed. We also have our eyes on the other big picks coming up this week, starting with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead Health and Human Services starting at 10 a.m. Wednesday, first before the Senate Finance Committee, then Thursday before the Health Committee. And the action doesn't stop there. Trump's pick to head the FBI, Kash Patael, will begin confirmation hearings on Thursday morning at 9:30 before the Judiciary Committee. And that same morning, Thursday, Tulsi Gabbard will start her process.
They're going to grill Kash Patael. They do not want him to be Secretary of FBI. They are going to grill Kash Patael.
To become the Director of National Intelligence. She'll go before the Intelligence Committee at 10 a.m. Among these huge picks, we're also watching other nominees looking to cement their positions in Trump's administration. One of those, Kelly Loeffler, to lead the Small Business Administration, who begins on Wednesday, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, that nominee hearing set for Wednesday, and several more. So nothing's slowing down here this week. We'll be on top of it all for you right here at the live desk, Angela.
All right, here's a little bit of a longer one.
So, Julia, welcome. Kristi Noem confirmed for Homeland Security Secretary just a short time ago after that really close call for Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary last night. So what's the general reaction and what's next?
Yeah, Alex, we are already having a Senate Saturday with lawmakers coming in today to secure that nomination confirmation vote for Kristi Noem for DHS Secretary. But as you mentioned, the senators were here late last night confirming Pete Hegseth, which was the second time in history that there had to be a tie-breaking vote from the VP for a cabinet-level nominee. The only other time that happened was Vice President Pence for Betsy DeVos for Education Secretary.
And this is when he swore him in. This dude has like 10 kids, by the way, chat. Pete Hegseth. My man's out here smashing, bro.
And so it was a really contentious situation for a while there. And Senator Schumer, the leader, came to the floor earlier today to express his reaction to the confirmation of Hegseth. Take a listen.
Last night, Senate Republicans entrusted the most powerful military in the world to someone with no experience.
And he's obviously a Democrat from New York.
I hope, for the sake of our troops and the good of our country, that he can eventually grow into the job. Senate Democrats will insist on vigorous oversight of the Defense Department.
Now, a surprising no vote that led to that tiebreaker was from Senator Mitch McConnell, who released a statement about his no vote, saying in part, effective management of the Defense Department's daily test with staggering consequences for the security of the American people and our global interests. Mr. Hegseth has failed as yet to demonstrate that he will pass this test, but as he assumes office, the consequences of failure are as high as they.
Yeah, so obviously they got a lot of criticisms. The guy's a TV news anchor, basically. Yeah, he's former military, but, you know, which is good and bad, because he actually served in combat, unlike a lot of these other prior DOD guys that are high up. But obviously, the sexual misconduct is what fucked him up the most, right? And I'll be honest with y'all, man, like, I'm shocked that he got confirmed, because if you guys remember, Matt Gaetz, they did this to him, and he just dropped out. He said, fuck it, I'm out, right? Which Matt Gaetz, you know, he's like one of the only politicians that didn't take any money from AIPAC, right? When they put him as for Attorney General, I would have liked to see him as Attorney General, right? They had all this like misconduct bullshit for him. So I think if Matt Gaetz stuck it out, he probably could have got confirmed, but I don't think he wanted to deal with the bullshit, right? Even though the FBI literally said that they're no longer investigating him and the case is done.
Have ever been. And so today you saw some aisle crossing for the votes here with some Democratic senators on board for Kristi Noem's nomination, including some from purple states like New Hampshire's Senators Hassan and Shaheen and Michigan Senators Slotkin and Peters. So that was a bipartisan vote to confirm Kristi Noem. Senator Tim Kaine telling us that he typically allows presidents to.
So here are the nominees right now. So we got Marco Rubio's confirmed for Department of State, which, by the way, first phone call this fucking ass clown made, right, was to Bibi Netanyahu. Let's see here. And this guy's also a neocon warhawk. See, look, he's already starting to pick fights with fucking China and shit. And then we got, obviously, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, John Ratcliffe, director of the CIA. And then these are the people that are up next, right? RFK, they're gonna give him a hard time, too.
To appoint their cabinets without interference unless they fail the qualification or character test. And so as we move ahead, procedural vote also happens.
But I'll be honest, if they got Hegseth through, bro, everybody else is going to be fine. He was the worst one, to be honest with you. Him and Matt Gaetz had the two worst backgrounds. So if they got Hegseth through, they'll get these other guys through, too.